Stop scrolling, stop scrolling, stop scrolling. Canada and the US are in a trade war. Lake America is here. Trump has found a new body of water for us to fight over or fight across or fight in. But regardless, during a war and a trade war specifically, there's going to be winners and losers. So I'm going to tell you which one is which and where to put your money. The trade escalation marked a massive paradigm shift in global investing. With the collapse of the bilateral free trade agreement, universal and targeted tariffs are dismantling cross-border manufacturing integrations like USMCA and CUSMA. That has ended an era of frictionless global supply chains. Retaliatory consumer squeezes are in full effect. Broad duties are causing collateral damage in consumer markets and driving up input costs, squeezing margins, and sparking consumer boycott. Think of my beloved bourbon, which I cannot get a sip of on this side of the border. The local capital shift. So instead of buying foreign products, capital is flowing into domestic infrastructure, repair services, alternative consumer categories, and local packaging supply chains. So what does it all mean? Well, these three trade war stories answer a lot of those questions, such as when a 50% automotive tariff halts cross-border vehicle manufacturing, where do the cars come from that people want to buy? Because these new cars are too expensive. How does a massive boycott on foreign spirits create an unexpected windfall for local packaging and non-alcoholic drink brands? And who wins when raw materials hit 50%, completely blocking imported steel? Let's jump straight into story number one. Automotive industry hit with escalating auto parts and tariffs. When new car supply chains stall, the smart money moves directly into used cars and aftermarket auto repair. Cross-border vehicle manufacturing faces massive disruption as automobile tariffs escalate toward 50%. You heard that right, 50% for some of the parts going back and forth across the border. Major legacy automakers face squeeze margins as parts and finished vehicles face duties at the border. So Trump is trying to help U.S. manufacturing, but I will let you tell me in the comments if taxing imports on parts to make those vehicles are higher, how does that benefit the manufacturer or the end consumer in America? I will let you tell it. So the primary winners, though, are domestic-only vehicle manufacturers in the U.S. However, there is secondary and tertiary winners. So used car platforms and aftermarket parts through the roof. When new car prices skyrocket, consumers fix their current cars or buy used. Demand shifts instantly to auto repair suppliers like O'Reilly Auto Parts and used vehicle retailers like CarMax. Check out those tickers. Story 2, alcohol industry smashed by tariffs and provincial bans. Foreign bourbon gets hit with retaliatory bans, but local glass packaging and non-alcoholic brands steal the revenue. A 50% tariff on imported alcohol paired with provincial bans across Canada has slammed global liquor sales. Spirit brands like Jack Daniel's are taking a direct hit as export volume collapses. Again, no bourbon, no U.S. wine on any Canadian shelf. They recently found a company, I believe in Quebec, selling some U.S. wine from California, and they pulled it off the shelves. U.S. beverage makers know that market share will be hard to recapture. I have not been able to get bourbon for what seems like years. So what have I been drinking? Well, responsibly, of course. Rum. I've gone back to rum and I found some amazing brands like Plantaray, which was formerly Plantation, that actually makes rum. And I'm not getting, this is not a sponsor. I'm just saying what I like, and you should try it as well because I like good stuff. If you like bourbon and cognac, they take the rum, it's Asian rum, and they age it in both cognac barrels in France and bourbon barrels. So you're getting that taste of the sweet taste from the rum plus the flavor from the bourbon and the cognac barrels. Absolutely amazing. I may not go back to 100% bourbon when it gets back on the shelves. So this is going to have a lasting impact. So Trump says he doesn't need Canada. I get it. You want to manufacture things locally, but we are also a massive market for a lot of the U.S. products that are made. It goes both ways. So the primary winners are local domestic craft breweries taking immediate shelf space where U.S. alcohol used to be. The winners, the secondary and tertiary winners, are domestic packaging and non-alcoholic drinks. Local producers are stepping up to fill the gap because domestic packaging is needed fast. And that's creating a massive surge for container makers like Ball Corp and OI Glass. So check out those tickers. So consumers that are forced to pivot away from expensive imported alcohol are switching into high-margin non-alcoholic brands like Celsius. Story 3, steel and metals industry has been squeezed by 50% tariffs. Raw metal tariffs block foreign supply, turning local scrap metal recyclers into absolute gold mines. So tariffs on raw materials and metal derivatives have escalated to 50%, forcing heavy manufacturers to absorb massive raw material costs or pass them directly into consumers. So the winners are domestic steel mills like Nucor, that's NUE, the ticker NUE. Secondary and tertiary winners are your real edge. So think industry metal recyclers. So with raw imported steel blocked by 50% duties, factories race to source locally recycled scrap metal to bypass tariffs. Domestic scrap metal leaders like Steel Dynamics, that's STLD, sit directly on the local supply chain bottleneck. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to see who the primary, secondary, and tertiary winners are going to be as this war drags on. Thanks for watching.